Right.
So we've been here before, haven't we, Nicky? Because the first time round it was a snafu, which is just becoming so common, especially with Zoom. Anyway, it's nice to see you again, only 2 hours after I saw you before.
Oh dear.
So we'll introduce ourselves again. Well, I'll introduce you because people have seen me before. This is Nicky Stevenson, who is an artist who has her own gallery in Brixton in Devon, in beautiful Devon, in the south of England. And I first saw her work when I was looking around for a new illustrator. And Nicky, you did what I would advise anybody to do, and you said no.
Yeah.
which was a very sensible choice, because basically people like me don't pay. and yeah, don't ever feel bad about saying no, because actually it earns you more respect rather than less, doesn't it?
God bless, thank you.
Anyway,
it's because you've got to just keep making new work yourself. That's the problem.
That's right. No, you have to know when you haven't time to do things.
Yeah, you do.
I've been waiting to talk to you for a month or so because, or maybe 2, just because you've been so busy. I've had family stuff as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
So is all that all sorted out, or?
It's ongoing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I first saw Nicky's work when I was looking for an illustrator, and I just fell in love with it because it was so quirky and it was so much fun, but it also has a real depth to it, which I just I just adore it. It's
Thank you.
And colourful. And anyway, I ended up buying a couple of pieces for a couple of presents for people. So I wanted to ask you, Nicky, I know you went to was it art college or tech college? It's art college.
I went to Torquay Tech, as it used to be, when I was 20, to do a foundation course in art and design. And then following on from that, having been told I could do whatever degree I wanted in the arts, I opted to do ceramics.
Oh yeah, you showed me.
Yeah, there's another little one that I made.
That one. Yes, you've got that Nicky style, I think, haven't you, already?
Yeah.
Even
everything was 3-dimensional.
Yeah.
Even back in the day. Yep. Because this was made, gosh, I think 37 years ago.
There's
scary, isn't it?
There is definitely a Nicky style even there, even in the shape, the sort of shape. Yeah, that's beautiful. And what method was that?
It was slip cast. So I made a mold and then slip cast it, then biscuit fired it, then used underglazed pencil for the decoration, and an earthenware clear glaze on top of it. Yeah. So the pattern the picture goes all the way around.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I haven't seen any of that type of. Does that show in your gallery as well?
No, it doesn't. I mean, when I did my degree, I was toying with the idea of working in the theatre, and I chose to illustrate using drawings, etchings, and ceramics. The opera, The Duke Bluebeard's Castle, which is a fairly harrowing tale, to say the least. And strangely, given that all my work is now so brightly coloured, my degree show was monochrome. It was just mostly black, actually.
That is odd. Why do you think you made such a dramatic change?
Well, after I'd finished my degree, I actually worked as a prop maker and then a designer in a variety of theatres. I was head of props at the Liverpool Playhouse and the Everyman, and at the Belgrade Theatre in Coventry as well. And of course, because of all the lighting states, the pigments that we used when we were decorating anything or painting, backcloths, etc., was super pigmented. And I think that palette just became the norm. Because when I got the opportunity to start painting and drawing full time, excuse me, that palette had just become normal.
Right. So you kind of learnt the art of exaggeration and simplification and that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah. But the paints we used to buy were absolutely amazing because you could dilute and dilute them and still they'd be vibrant. And
Wow.
I think that's why I now use the stuff that I use to paint with as well, because it's so vibrant, but it
You
has a
didn't talk
translucent.
about that before. What do you use?
It's called Ecoline or Ecoline,
Yeah.
and it's made by Talons. And I discovered it first when I lived in Holland, because I'd been using Winsor and Newton inks a lot because of the vibrosity, but they're not very light permanent.
Right.
And so I was looking for something else. And also Winsor and Newton inks disperse in a terribly random way because they've got shellac in them. And they're great if you want certain effects. But I wanted my work to look sculpted on the paper.
Right.
And I found with the Ecoline, I could actually make it do what I wanted it to do.
Ah, so they're actually inks rather than paints.
They're like a cross between a watercolour and an ink.
Right.
So they come ready mixed. Hang on a sec. Where's the little jar? So they come ready mixed in little bottles.
Oh, nice.
Like that, but you can intermix them.
Yeah.
You can dilute them. If you want a stronger tone, you can even put some onto a little dish,
yeah,
and let it dry out, and then dilute it a tiny bit.
Yeah, so it's funny because this is not my area of work at all. There's nothing like what I do. But recently I've been doing cutting out paper shapes and painting them with writing inks.
Right.
In vellum, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, I've been doing that, drying out the inks. So that was quite that's interesting. I'll have to look up. I'm an absolute colour junkie, actually, which is probably what draws me to your work.
Yeah.
And so if there's a range of colours, even if I'm never going to use them, I have to buy them.
Yes.
So like, if I go to Paris for a miniatures fair, I have to go to the Sennelier shop and go buy various different colours, etc.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your actual work.
Yeah.
You work in Devonshire in a holiday town.
Yeah.
I've just mentioned Brixton. And you have a gallery there. And I wondered why you actually chose the gallery. First of all, I want to ask you about your work, but why did you choose to go to Brixton and to get a gallery there?
It was circumstances, really, because I'd lived in Holland and then Glasgow with my husband at the time's job. And I have 2 daughters, and we kept moving with his job. And so I decided that actually they needed a more settled way of life. So we've got family here. So I moved to Brixton to be closer to family. It was as simple as that, really. Yeah.
But you decided to go for a gallery. Was that several years ago or recently?
I think I've had a gallery in Brixton now for 14 years.
Yeah, so it was before really the internet really online sales. We both got to cough, by the way. So if I start coughing,
yeah, sorry, I'm hay fevery.
I've got one as well. Same reason.
Yeah.
So now that the online sales are increasing and are easier to do you find that the gallery is still a good idea, or have there ever been any times when you thought, well, shelve this, I'll just sell online?
The gallery is still a good idea for the main reason that people absolutely love to meet the artist. They love to meet the artist. I mean, typically I'm nice to people and quite jolly.
Yeah.
And so they love to meet the artist and love to actually talk about the narrative behind my work. And then what might happen is they some customers may not actually buy on that day when they've met you, but they may buy a couple of weeks later, or a month later, or even a year later from the online gallery site.
Yeah, people buy people, don't they? More than they. So the narrative thing. I'll just say that I bought a couple of Nicky's limited edition art prints, and one of them was from a series called about seagulls, and I think Seagulls Surf Too or something.
Yeah, is this
my grandson, and they are just.
There it is.
But it's a bit shine. We're getting a bit of shine on there, Nicky. But you can see that these little characters clearly having a whale of a time in the water. But there's, as part of this series, seagulls don't surf and they have a lot of trouble. And there are days when they're not riding the right waves or whatever. So it's very. I mean, not everything that you do is seaside related, but those just struck a chord with me because of the Brixton seagulls, which
they're very Brixton, aren't they?
My dad used to call them yobbos because they were out at night squawking and fighting over chips and things.
Yes,
and they did sound like a load of yobbos out on the town at night. So I very much appreciated that story. So tell us more about how you pick up your narratives then, that your work is special.
Well, everything, most of what I do has a story behind it. So sometimes somebody can say something or I'll hear something. It could be on the news, it could be a friend, it could be a family member, whoever. And an image just pops into my head. Sometimes it can be inspired by a song or a line in a song or a poem or a line from a play.
Give us an example that's in your current work.
Let's have a think. Well, there was one that I painted a few years ago, which is called All of Us Have Wings, but Only Some of Us Know Why, which was a song that I think Tom Jones did it, but Natalie Imbruglia did it.
Right.
I heard that line and I painted a picture of some cormorants, which was directly inspired by that.
Yeah. Yes, I did notice that you do have a few with song titles, not song titles, but song lyrics.
Yeah. And then other times there's one called I'll Be Off Now, which was inspired by a friend who was going through a really nasty breakup with a bloke. And basically he'd said to her, well, I'll be off now. And she was devastated. But I drew this picture. Yeah. And she had the first limited edition that came from the run of it. Yeah.
Oh, that's a lovely story.
Made her happy. So it's all sorts of ways. And just general states, I suppose, as well. I mean, the seagull ones, the three, I was waiting for the next wave, Seagulls Don't Surf and Seagulls Surf Too. They're about trying, getting it wrong, and then perseverance. Yeah. So they can be states that you might find yourself in, and hopefully inspire people to keep going, really.
Yeah, that's why I chose that one really for my grandson, apart from the fact that that I love the little characters and that I love the symbols, but I also love the story of perseverance, which is a great thing to buy for somebody that you care about, especially a young person. And we were talking earlier about how children have so much stuff.
Yeah.
This year I decided that I wasn't going to buy stuff for my grandson. I was going to buy a limited edition print for his wall because I remember the wallpaper and the pictures on my childhood wall from his age. Yeah, that can stick with me with that much fondness for that many years. it seems like a good idea to introduce visual images like that.
Yeah, it's really lovely.
Yes.
Yeah, I think those images that you carry with you throughout your life are
Absolutely.
really, truly
Yeah.
important,
And then
aren't
there's
they?
the other thing, if you buy a limited edition piece of art, there's always the chance that that artist is going to become very famous.
Yeah.
And you've bought your relative or loved one some kind of a lottery ticket as well.
Yeah.
So they get two types
Lovely.
of pleasure from it, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And then I went on to buy another one for my daughter-in-law because it just seemed like the right present for this year. So
Yeah.
very nice. Now,
Thank you.
I've got to remember the other things that I want to ask you about. Right. Giclée prints.
Yes.
That's how you produce your limited edition. Now, there are a few artists that I know and a few on this group who are young, just starting, no confidence. They don't know how to present their work. And don't know about quality and price levels, etc. Can you tell them about these Giclée prints, because they sound like the right level for?
Yeah. Right. So Giclée prints, as opposed to the old method of lithographic printing, are so good for artists because you don't have to order hundreds of them at a time.
Yeah.
And therefore it works. Yeah, you can ask your Giclée printing person to do one of or six of whatever number you want or require at any given time. There's normally a setup cost when you go to do a Giclée print, because the printing person has to scan in your image, or if it's a very big image, they have to take a photograph of it in studio controlled and lit conditions to achieve proper color and texture, etc. with it.
Yeah,
so there's not a setup cost.
The texture is interesting. Yeah, can you tell us about texture? Because normal printing, it's just flat.
Well, this comes out flat still, but the joy of Giclée printing is that it picks up every little nuance of the image. So if you've painted something in heavy acrylic or oil, for instance, it will actually, as you stand back from it as a Giclée print, still appear to be textured, even though it is flat. So it's absolutely brilliant for that.
Yeah.
But it's just an amazing, it's opened up so many opportunities for artists, because I think I've now got probably got 90 in limited edition now. Wow. But it means that you can offer your the public and your fans, etc., a wider choice of limited edition prints without having to find a storeroom to store 350 of any given image at any one time,
and pay for it, of course.
And pay for it, which is really prohibitive.
So that throws up another really interesting question. If you've got 90 different images, 90 different images.
Yeah.
But you only have, say, 20 of them in your shop. Is that because you're cycling them, or because you've sold out?
Right. Sometimes you do sell out of the limited edition, because mine typically are 150 of any one image. And once you've sold that final one, that is it. You really cannot, you put on the art naughty step if you were to.
Yeah, that's a promise, isn't it?
Yeah, so they're very controlled. So my printing man, Gary at Chase Fine Art in Cornwall, he actually keeps control of the numbers. So sometimes I've run out of an edition, and people will come in and say, oh, you haven't got that one, I saw it 2 years ago. And I have to say, I'm awfully sorry, I've sold out. So I've got pretty much most of my limited edition collection in my gallery,
Right.
because some of them are they're quite varied,
Yeah.
in their way, and the themes of them are quite varied.
Right.
So it's good to be able to offer people, you know, that choice.
But they're not all online then, I think.
No.
In fact, when I looked today, there were some that I've not seen before. So you do seem to be doing some cycling.
Oh, right. Well, I need to look at, we're going to review the website actually next week, because there are some that were missed off a little while ago, and I've got some new ones to go on as well.
Because I would think if you've got a huge body of work, it would actually be quite interesting to cycle, because the idea of having all the same at the same time and no change in your website would make your website not rank as well, really, on the search engines, because it's not a change.
Yeah. Well, we've got new cards and new homewares and stuff to go on it as well, so we will be upgrading that.
Other income streams, that's another thing for young startups. Well, I've only just realized 4 years ago, when I sort of remade myself, how important other passive income streams and other recycling your work into other things are. You were telling me you do some of that as well for your holiday crowd.
Yes. I mean, this is the joy of the digital age, isn't it? That you can actually get things made in small numbers digitally. And so I'll show you, this is the Seagull Surf bag, as a for instance.
I might have to have that one.
But that is printed digitally for me, but it's, you know, you can wash it, you can do what you will with it. And then there's some cushions as well. That's ladies' lunch there, the cushion.
Yes. Yeah, ladies do lunch. That's the one. I think that's the one that we got for my daughter-in-law, I think.
Yeah, it's a similar one to that.
I can imagine that when you're running a gallery, you have everybody who wants to come and look. Everybody can afford to buy, and they will buy a small item that reminds them of the beautiful things they've seen. And maybe those people will just say, I want that as an art piece later on when they get home.
Well, this is the thing with the homewares, that I mean, the bags are £19.50. I've got aprons for £17.50, and actually there's little coasters, which, where's the coasters? These are really cute. So we've probably got about, I think I've got about 10 different designs at the moment.
Yeah.
With the coasters, but these are £4.50.
I mean, everybody can afford that. It's like entry level bands.
Yeah. So they love them, and sometimes they'll choose 6 of them to have as a mixed set, you know, on their coffee tables and stuff. But it's and with cards as well, greeting cards. Sometimes people buy greeting cards and they'll actually tell you that they're going to frame them, you know. And I don't mind that, because they can't afford, you know, a giclée print or an open print, but they can afford £2 for a card.
It's exactly the same with the work I do in miniatures. You have to have an entry level. Even my mum was a miniaturist, and she started off buying the rubbish. And I don't mean, you know, but she started off buying the low level, low price stuff, and she acquired a taste, and then she would gradually replace those sorts of and that's, you've got to, I think you have to have a bottom shelf that everybody can afford.
I think what's really nice about having done this for so long in Devon is that, you know, I've been selling art in Devon now for, I don't know, 20 odd years, I suppose. And so what has happened is that I've met people when they were 10 or 15 or whatever, and they've loved my work, and they've bought a card or they've bought an open print, and then you've seen them go on and get married and set up a home and then have babies And so they come in and buy something for their sitting room wall, and then they buy something for their nursery.
Yeah.
And that is just so lovely. It really is.
Yes.
You know, that cycle of life is just really thrilling.
Yeah.
And the fact that they return and are interested to see what else I've come up with, you know, and tell me never to stop, which is really
never stop, never stop. We were talking earlier about the limited edition prints and how you start from number 11. Did you say?
Yes. I don't know if all limiteds work like that, but certainly Gary at Chase Fine Art in Cornwall, he holds back the first 10. So we start at number 11. Yes. And then I, like this last time he brought new ones to me, I was quite shocked to realise that I was signing I think number 5, 6 and 7.
Yes.
And thinking, oh my goodness, we're right near the end of the limited edition run.
Yes. So and I kind of told you off as well, because I think that when you get to that last 10, then you should put the price up, because it's anybody who can't afford it will buy something else.
Yeah.
But you know that is a popular piece of work. And those people who are getting the last few are very lucky anyway to get them.
Well, they are. Yeah. I don't know. I'll have to ask other artists about that.
Well, I think that's why your printer does it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
There isn't another obvious explanation.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Oh, you right. I thought you were going into the loo. Because we've got it's got one of those what do you call it, opaque glasses, but you can still see. You can still see the shape. No, we're not doing that during the Zoom call.
Oh,
anyway, so let's get on to advice for other artists, whether young or old. Have you got any?
Stick with it. That is the thing. Have faith in your work and your competence. Don't let other people put you off.
Right.
And stick with it and keep going and gradually make inroads into whatever you want to do, be it to just for your own pleasure, or I mean, for me, obviously, I had to bring up children and I had to make a living at it. And I was lucky that people liked my work enough to buy it. Yeah. But nonetheless, at times I thought, oh, you know, this is all a bit hectic. And at one point I did say to an artist friend of mine, John Gillow, who had a gallery in Dartmouth, he's brilliant. I think I'm going to pack this in and go for teacher training. And he said, don't do that, Nick. You're really good. Your work's beautiful. You know, the colours, everything. Keep going, girl. And it's his fault that I'm still going.
Now, you're probably a little bit younger than me, but how are you preparing for retirement?
I'm not, because I can't see a time when I won't be creating.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like that, but I suppose in England you're a little bit more secure. But there is a situation if you get ill or whatever that there's no income coming in.
Yeah.
Are you prepared for that? Is there advice you give for people about that?
Well, I mean, if I had my time over again, I'd say jolly well get a pension. Get a pension sorted.
Yeah.
And no matter how tricky finance is become, pay into it.
Yeah.
Do it. I didn't.
No, I didn't. I think most don't. I would have a different point of view from yours, because I was pretty much a single parent, at least financially.
Yeah.
And there was never any chance of putting anything away at all.
I did try for a while.
Yeah. However, possibly if I was asked the same question, I would say invest in passive income, which of course your work is. Your work,
Yeah.
you get yourself a stack of different images,
Yeah.
and they sell over a number of years, so that
Yeah.
if you became ill tomorrow, you would still have a body of work that you could sell in various forms. And I think that's probably our artist pension plan, isn't it? Selling a body of work in various forms after.
Yeah, definitely.
But it seems that we had the same pension plan.
Yeah, it's rubbish.
I never had one, and I'm actually doing that, getting the body of work together now, and I'm in my 60s already. So
yep. Well, I also need to. I mean, really, I need to learn more about social media, etc., and promote myself more on other people's sites as well. For that time when actually I don't want to go to an art gallery anymore, because it's quite tiring being with the public all the time.
Yes.
Sometimes it isn't, sometimes it's inspiring, but sometimes
maybe you could, in the future, you could share your gallery with another artist and go part-time in the gallery, so that you share the burden.
Could be, but I don't think so.
But anyway, the whole social media thing, we're doing a lot of that kind of stuff on the Your Creative Business
Excellent.
So please, chip in and
I will.
if anybody who's watching this when we put it out has any questions of Nicky, will you answer them if they put questions under the?
Oh, of course I will.
Excellent.
Absolutely, no problem at all. No problem.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm always glad to give advice.
I wasn't bored talking to you for a second time, because there were
I wasn't.
Other interesting.
I think if we lived near each other, we'd see quite a lot of one another.
We would, wouldn't we? Go for a coffee together, definitely.
Yeah, it'd be really nice.
Well, we both live in beautiful places, so you never know.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right then, Nicky. Well, I'm going to draw this to a close now, because time's getting on, because we had to do it twice. But thank you very much for putting up with my snafu and being prepared to do it all over again.
Oh, no worries at all. It's just been a pleasure. All right. Take care now.
Thank you very much. I do hope that this recorded this time.
Brilliant. Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye, Nicky. Cheers.
Bye. Bye.